My peoples, it's Manny Moonraker, and I'm back. I'm back again. And we are going to talk about a couple of things today. A couple of things of interest. And maybe there's even like a follow-up, really, to a previous conversation. This is UFO Buster Radio News. I am your hostess with the mostest, Manny Moonraker. And I believe this is number 193 for all of you counting. And actually, it's UFO Buster Radio News number 193. But a total of 315 episodes have been recorded for this particular podcast. And wow, nobody really listens. So that's a lot of recording for nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. So before we get into the little news dealio that we have for today, I want to talk about this follow-up we have on the Utah UFO. Yes, the Utah UFO. Now, this is the one that we talked about the week before last, because, I didn't show up last week. And we talked about the fact that these two documentary film dudes were out in the middle of Utah. They saw this fantastic wilderness and decided to put their drone up to film some shit. The drone picked up the craziest, fastest fucking UFO you've ever seen in your life. But there's one person that might have seen this UFO quite a few years ago, and that person is Commander David Fravor. That's right, I have a link to a video. This video actually does a 3D camera motion tracking. It does this technique to pretty much extrapolate for us what the size and shape of this UFO is. The fascinating part about this is that they also use some of the videos that came from Commander David Fravor's jet when they were tracking that damn UFO during the Nimitz incident. The conclusions, as far as the speed, the size, and the shape, all seem to draw similarities to what Commander Fravor reported that he experienced during the Nimitz incident. It's a fantastic video. Now, the great thing about this, it's not someone that's trying to rubber dick us into thinking that this really is a real UFO. They present both sides. And the one thing is, because this person is skilled in using 3D imaging, they also showed how this could be faked using a 3D UFO. Basically CGI. But the video itself is fantastic. The comparisons are great. Check it out. The link is in the description. I mean, I saw it last night. I was like, damn, that is just crazy. Actually, you know what? I take it back. That doesn't sound like ESPN. I almost feel like I'm an Avenger now. I gotta call myself something. Captain Moonraker or some shit like that. Yeah, I don't know what my superpowers are. Maybe Bugs. Maybe Bugs has flatulence as his main power, basically, because he could clear out a room in no time. I mean, that takes some real super dog strength. No lie. The article that we're going to talk about today, and you might want to read it if you're interested in alien abductions after you look at that YouTube video, because that YouTube video is fantastic. As a matter of fact, I totally forgot to send this guy a message to let him know that I was going to include this in a podcast today, because fuck my life, what a great video that is. The issue at hand in this article we have, which is titled, "When Did Alien Sightings Turn into Alien Abductions?" I had to read this. And it's printed in the publication airspace.mag.com. So this writer, this researcher, whatever he is, he decides to say, listen, there was a good time where all we did, for a very long time, kind of think about aliens being in different places, like Venus and Mars, back maybe a century ago. As a matter of fact, he says back in 1750, most people were in Europe accepted the fact that extraterrestrial civilizations existed. Yeah. Shit. Can't get that wrong right. And then he says that even as far back as the 4th century BC, many people thought that in the worlds that they see in the stars that were inhabited by something, whether it be gods or powerful titans, or other beings altogether. But he says something went wrong because we went into, from 1960 to 1980, there was a slow churn. There was this little, hiccup where all of a sudden, slowly, people went from thinking there was ETs to basically reporting that they were getting probed on the regular and being abducted. It's a fascinating article, the way he writes this, and he states this, that he says that it really emerged about the mid-60s, and it became almost limited in the public really wanting to know about it. And he also makes reference to Whitley Strieber and all the stuff that he was doing and writing about, reporting regarding alien abductions. But here's something that he says about his research that might be somewhat debatable for many people. I would assume. Fuck, I'm debating it, and I'm not really too far up into this topic. He says, and I quote, "In my research, I've been considering a number of possible explanations for the aforementioned stuff I just said. Heightened media attention on new reproductive technology, growing concerns over unregulated human experimentation, and recognition of mental trauma suffered by victims of abuse all helped create a public atmosphere receptive to these new claims." I think listen, I really was tempted in writing this guy because I think that's really fucked up. It makes no sense in a way, to be honest. Unregulated human experimentation, that shit's happening now. Nobody gives a fuck about that. Just because we read about it, just because we see it, that doesn't mean that we think aliens are going to abduct us. I can't remember the last time I thought an alien was going to abduct me when I saw a commercial of new birth control. I don't get it. That makes no sense. But if you think about it, if you have a mind that's impressionable that way, and you look at that new birth control thing that, ladies, they stick in their arms so they don't have to take the pill and stuff, that could be something that someone with very little gray matter might see and maybe extrapolate or interpret it into a scene of an alien abduction for them. Because you find all these little objects in your body, and I don't know. I still can't make that correlation. I just can't do it. But this is what he's saying. He's basically saying that this is what happened. It was these technologies and these conversations regarding experimentation, and that people who are basically traumatized by abusers may be the ones that kind of started the whole alien abduction scene. Unfortunately for the article, he kind of ends it right there. That was his conclusion. And like I say, he talked about Whitley Strieber and stuff like that early on. But my question here is, how many people that report being abducted have a history of child abuse? Or any kind of abuse for that matter? I think that is a wonderful question. I know that a few of the people that I've talked to in the past, and not in the recent past, but way back when the podcast first started, that most of them reported they had pretty good lives as kids. They had attentive parents. They never really said anything about any claims of abuse or mistreatment by family members or anyone like that. But this particular person apparently thinks that abuse could be a factor into why people are reporting alien abductions. So there you go. There's a question for Travis Walton. Was he abused as a baby? As a matter of fact, was he abused as a baby in the woods? Because that's where he got abducted, apparently. Or maybe he was scared about reproductive technology. You know, what's the world coming to? Maybe that's why he had his experience. And then maybe the guys in the truck were his abusers. I don't fucking know. This is conclusion. You know, the thing about these conclusions is you can't really generalize them like this. I am sure that there is a small percentage of people who say they've been abducted that really were not abducted, but used it as a way to deal with things like abuse, who used it as a coping mechanism to, you know, remove themselves from their lives. But I would be hard pressed to convince anyone, even including myself. I could even convince myself right now that everyone falls into one of those categories he's listed. I don't really think that the majority of people that say they're being abducted are victims of abuse. But, you know, it sounds like some research somebody's got to do. I recommend the article only because it's an argument, right? It's another way of looking at it. We can't always be pro-UFO abductions. You know, we got to show both sides of the story. Though in this case, I'm not totally buying it, but I'm not going to totally say it's incorrect. I think there is some truth to it, and just not entirely. I really think that if you believe in the UFO phenomena, and you believe in ET and aliens, and if you believe that they come here periodically to start some shit up, then it's not beyond the realm of possibility that some of these people that report abductions are really experiencing abductions. And then there's a conspiracy, too, that it might be a government thing that's going on, right? Because there's laws against experimenting on people, and you can't just openly just go and take some of your citizens and just experiment on them. There's this conspiracy that says there's a faction of the government that's not public that's grabbing people and experimenting on them. You make your own decision on this one. I don't know what it is. All I gotta say, it's a funky read. I kind of like where he's going with it. I'm not sure that I buy it off, but you guys better check out that video. As soon as this thing is over, I'm gonna go and send that guy a message to thank him, because that is a fascinating, fantastic piece of research on that Utah UFO. Shit, somebody send it to Commander Fravor. Fuck, his UFO is back. Ciao.